What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone is, nice and fresh and prepared for the beginning of the week. Good morning, Elsid. Good morning. As Elsid says to like, share, and subscribe the video. We always want to get there. Good morning, K1. Just over here, getting to our Monday thing. I feel like, I ran across some things. I never actually know what, my topic, just our warm up topic. You know what I mean? We get in here and get our coffee and jamba juice and mocha matchas and smoothies and things, whatever it is we do to get our morning started. You hear my little theme song come on and here she come, here she come. That means, let me make sure I got everything organized so, we can get in this conversation. And I never really know, like I said, sometimes I go straight into the story and sometimes, I get inspired by some of the things I see and I want to share it with y'all. It's August. We're to the end of summer. August kind of things are going to be, switching around. I don't have no children in elementary school or high school or any of those things. Grandma is in the house and these kids is grown at the blackety black job listening in. Listen, you know what I'm saying? That's what we have to do. I'm just here to kind of help the day go by a little bit smoother, get a little chit chat in with my peoples. School starts in Georgia today. Oh my goodness. So you had to get traffic prepared. I mean, unless you're working from home. If you're working from home, God bless you, because I feel like one of my worst things in dealing with and, during your day to day is that doggone traffic. So nobody wants to be dealing with that. Anyway, everything is going to be a little bit of a shift and people are going to act like they didn't know what had happened. I think they start next week here, but yeah. So kids are going back to school. It's the end of summer, and I feel like maybe it's time for us. The New Year's happens, and we have our New Year's resolutions or just plans for the year, and then we get into it, and when I say we, I mean me, and if it's you, then you know what I'm talking about. But we get a little off track. We try to stay focused. Everywhere you go, the people keep telling you Mercury is in retrograde, and you're like, what? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Mercury is in retrograde. I heard it 100,000 times now. I'm astrology not. You know what I mean? I feel like astrology is something that needs to be studied. Now, I like to know like personality traits and things, but I think there's a level of astrology that I have not reached into. So, Mercury in retrograde means, oh my God, it's everything. You drop a spoon on the floor while you're cooking. You're like, God dog it. Mercury in retrograde got me dropping things on the floor. Like, we kind of put everything on that. So then you got your summertime things happening. You got your Juneteenth celebrations. So you got to figure out, like, how the celebrations is going to go and such. And you get a little, off on your summer fun, vacations, getting away, doing things. I feel like vacations kind of start wrapping up in August too. And so, you got to look back at your list. I feel like we started this year with a list, so we need to look back at your list. If you didn't start with us in the beginning of the year, then you need to write a list. So we're going to take it 1 week at a time. How about that? We can get into Monday and just make a list of things that you want to do this week and see if you accomplish some of that. So if you want to prosper, keep this out of your home. Success, your environment shapes your mindset. I really believe that more than you think. When I was teaching, I would, if they would move me into a new classroom, typically what I was doing is throwing everything away based on who was there before me. And when you're talking about a classroom for cosmetology students, you'd be finding just random things from different projects that they had. And so, some teachers like to post things all over the wall. So when I move into a new classroom, I would just start throwing things away. The housekeeping guy would just look at me and be like, just put it out here, because he knows I don't need all this clutter. I'm having new people come in and I don't need all this clutter around. Good morning, Jaguar. Good morning to go to Africa. So yeah, I feel like your environment makes it, if you're in a cluttered space, whether it be your desk or your bedroom, whatever your environment is, I feel like your mind can be somewhat cluttered, and I think we all find ourselves that in that place from time to time. Unless you're a cluttered person, and then God bless you, child. Sometimes moving forward isn't about adding more; it's about letting go of what no longer serves you. Decluttering your home can also help you feel more organized, focused, and at peace. This isn't about superstition or guaranteed success. It's about creating a cleaner space that supports better habits and clearer mind. Which one do you need to get rid of first? So, gifts or belongings from people who cause you pain. We talked about the other day. We talked about, keeping things from the ex, like, the jewelry and the clothing or whatever it is you keep it from your ex. I don't know that they caused you pain, but if they're ex, I'm pretty sure they probably caused you pain at sometimes. So maybe you don't need that little trinket that came from your ex. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who else would be in the house to cause you pain, but if it's a friendship that's no longer a friendship, maybe holding on to that card ain't really what you want. You know what I'm saying? So think about, when you're going through your things, what is it that came from somebody? I'm not holding on to it because it's useful. I'm holding on to it for what? So I can remember the person that caused me pain? That doesn't make sense. So if you're walking around wearing your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend's t-shirt, sweat, if you're wearing your ex-girl's t-shirt, I'm guessing maybe, she's bigger than you are. Um, Kiwan, you said throw everything away. I mean, I'm gonna keep the jewelry now, Kiwan. I don't really feel like that's considered clutter, but if it's somebody that caused you pain, though, you can always, take it to the pawn shop. Take it to the pawn shop. Don't give it away. Don't throw it away. But get the best use out of it. That's all I can say. Um, what else? Broken things, broken dishes, broken appliances, damaged furniture, or frayed cables. Who got a plate with a chip on it? I mean, I usually get to it. Like if one gets chipped, I do get rid of the plate, but then now you got a set that's uneven. So it don't cost that much to replace the damn of the glass. You got one glass. I have one wine glass, one champagne glass from a set that I no longer have anymore. So that kind of stuff. Just move it on, get rid of it. You know what I mean? Just get a new set. Like, is it really gonna set you back, $20 to go get a new set of, glasses, dishes, just things that because when you get that plate with a chip on it, it constantly reminds you, I think, that your set is flawed. And old furniture, we have things in our house that we've been propping up the drawer. My thing is I have nightstands that the drawers, it's time to throw this thing out. I'm just saying. We hold on to things that we don't necessarily need to hold on to. I've been to people's house and seen a chair like this, and they take that chair and they'll throw a quilt over it. You know what I'm saying? And you're not keeping it because it's not comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all been to a house with a chair like this? The armrest is all worn off. Treat yourself to a chair at the holiday time. Get rid of that stuff now and plan on, treating yourself to something. Let the people know. What do you want? I want a gift card so I can replace this damn chair. You know what I'm saying? When you have kids and things like that. But I feel like we've all done it. We've all held on to furniture and things and prop it up and rig it up, and you really should have just got rid of it. What's on the next? What's on the next slide? A stopwatch. It can represent stalled progress and unfinished goals. Wow. I mean, it looked like that thing been beat up. I don't have no jewelry that's beat up like that, but I do have watches that I, have had and haven't worn. So, it's time to give them away because what am I holding on to it for? It doesn't make sense. And that's deep. It represents stalled progress. Oh, you don't even realize some of the bad juju you be putting on yourself just by holding on to something insignificant for whatever reason. It's a material thing. Get a new watch. You said you put your old chair out, your neighbor took it and reupholstered it, and it looks amazing now. That's awesome. You weren't going to reupholster it, and that's a perfect example of, man, when I don't know about up there, but when it's trash day, today is trash day actually. And when you sit something out on the curb, I remember when I moved, like I had set stuff out on the curb, and by the time I came back in the house and went back out, somebody had already snatched that thing. But I feel better about somebody else being able to use it rather than, it just getting thrown away. Send me a video, child. What is it about? So I'll know where to stick it. Yeah, so if you got watches that are just stalled in time, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Don't be stuck there, child. Empty bottles or empty containers, keeping your space organized and avoid unnecessary, one more time, unnecessary clutter. You got an empty bottle of perfume in the house or empty bottle of anything? Probably somewhere. I don't like to hold on to perfume bottles. And I feel like when you have your fragrance, you have your fragrance, but I have seen it. My ex used to have 100 perf colognes on his dresser. He would have all these colognes, and it just started getting dusty. I was like, do you even wear any of these? Like the ones, guys like to carry their one they wear like in their car, in the glove compartment or what have you. And I'm like, why do you have all this? Like, princess, get rid of all these freaking bottles of dusty cologne you not even wear. She was afraid to show me. Thought I wanted my chair back. No, I don't want it back. I threw it out, lady. But I appreciate, that you did your thing. That's funny. She was afraid to show you. It's okay. I threw it out. Can you imagine? Hey, now that you've reupholstered that chair, I would like to have it back now. Thank you. Dead flowers or dying plants. Remove things that no longer bring life into your space. Dead flowers are so sad. What's up, Chaz? Over here giving dead petrified flowers to the ladies. Um yeah, when it's time to let them go, just let them go. There's definitely a different energy when you put the happy, bright, upstanding flowers in the vase, and they're just so happy to be there. That's very different than the sad flowers that been sitting there dead for 3 days. Why are you holding on to it? Empty bottles and jars are used to portion out my essential oils. Well, I mean, but you're putting them to use. And that's different. But those people that are like, I'm gonna save these bottles because I'm gonna one day do something with it. 3 years later, the bottles are still somewhere. But yeah, if you're utilizing them, that's completely different. I like that idea too for essential oils because perfume bottles are pretty. So and you can utilize the atomizer where you just giving a little sound effects. Yeah, throw the flowers away. Once they droop over, get rid of them. Just in case this is a problem, I don't want to say it too loud, but this is a problem my daughter has. Just in case, holding on to things you never use can create unnecessary clutter. That's what the garage is for. I see so many people whose garage is so full of boxes and things. I need my car to go in the garage, so we don't really have that problem. But my daughter does like to hold on to things, and you're like, "What is this? What? It's been in this box for 4 years, girl. Can we throw it away now? Wait a second. I don't know. Go in your garage. See if you got a box of things that are just in case things. If it's just in case for more than a year, then you just should throw it away. I learned that lesson a long time ago, and I try to stand true to it. As a person who sews, there is fabric sometimes that I hold on to just in case, and that's very hard because you'd be like, "What if I need it?" And you haven't needed it all this time. She's not listening. She's not listening. She works until 4 a.m. So, her babies kept her up this morning. So it seems like everybody's having a little early nap. I think that's what's going on. So, um, now that other one, sometimes she be in there listening and then she'll make a comment and I'm like, who the hell is that? Yeah, just in case things. There's no just in case. Just in case things that you keep is a flashlight, not a coffee mug. And I have a box. Now, I do have a box that's just full of different charger cords and things because they keep on, switching up the way, you can charge your phone. So I do have a box. So I'm like, I won't throw it away. And then if somebody's looking for a cord, it's probably going to be one in that box that, will work for you. So that I do keep just in case. But other than that, these are habits that you have to break. I feel like these are old people habits. Clothes you no longer wear. Um, I'm pretty good at this because I'm a minimalist and I don't like keeping a cluttered closet. I like to be able to see what's going on in there. But I think this is a problem that a lot of people have, especially when you got those pants or that dress that looked really cute on you, but COVID got in the way and now you ain't really fit back into it like you want to. We can't use COVID as an excuse anymore. I mean, it's 6 years later. So if you ain't fitting them pants, put them in a box, hand them over to this. I don't take my stuff to Salvation Army. I take my stuff to it's a it's a shelter, like, where a food pantry type of situation. I'm pretty sure it's a military, but they they take like baby clothes. Like, how you have that last box of diapers that the baby just, didn't fit in. So I take the diapers and I take the clothes over there. Not something because Goodwill doesn't pay their employees and they make profit off of all of that stuff that you donate. So, I try to avoid that. This place over here is strictly for people in need. So, if you're looking to get a job and you don't have like clothes, you know what I mean, appropriate clothes to wear to work. If you've been in a bad situation, you can go over there and find things, and it's not going to Goodwill or Salvation Army where they're making a profit. To go to Africa, I have dozens of shoes, outfits that still have price tags on them. I have struggled with the idea of getting rid of them. Take them to a consignment store. I mean, a lot of times if they have a designer label, you could take them to a consignment store, and at least you'll get a little check from it. I've done that before. Otherwise, let it go, Elsa. Let it go. If you've had out from years and the price tag is still on it, that means you ain't really like them in the first place. My sister used to do that, having all them things with price tags on it. It was like going shopping. I have a good friend that does that too, and she paid me one time to come help her empty her closet where she just had so much stuff that she was never going to wear and stay somewhere ordering new stuff. My grandfather wore clothes right away, so no one else can wear his clothes before him when he passes. um, I, I have my girls in here like snatching up my clothes, but you know, he said he was finna wear all his stuff, so there's that. You said I don't wear them for years. I'm not worried about anyone wearing them. That's funny. Is that the last thing on the list? Yeah, if you got clothes you're not wearing, get rid of them. That clutter, it makes you dread going in your closet. Notebooks, papers that no longer serve a purpose. If you can organize your home, organize your mind. That used to be a hard one for me because my mother had me trained to, you know, to cut up all the stuff on the mail. So you don't want anybody like you shredding everything. And then it takes time to get to shredders. So worried about somebody stealing your identity. And, honestly, in this day and age, they don't even have to go through your trash to get it. They can just, hack your stuff like they often do. So that's an old mindset that one has been difficult to difficult for me to let go of because I still like soak the mail in hot water and coffee and stuff and ball them up so that if they if anybody tries to read my stuff, it'll be all destroyed. A cluttered place can lead to a cluttered mind. A clean, organized environment can help reduce stress and improve focus. I agree 100%. So, like I said, we, at the end of summer, before, by the end of August, we're going to be getting prepared for holiday time. We, around here, we got hurricane season that we, pray our way through. So, August, September, and October are really the months where we have concern, especially August and September, because the hotter it is, the worse the hurricanes. So, once we get to October, and we have had, some October hurricanes, but hopefully, we got to pray our way through that season. The last thing you want is a bunch of clutter and stuff in your way during hurricane season. You never know. You never know, what you're going to be dealing with. And then the holidays come and everything is on pause. Like I always feel like if you haven't done it by July, then you're probably gonna have to take the next 6 months or 5 months and try to organize and prepare for the following year. But yeah, let's get rid of this clutter because we need to move forward with a clear mind, child. We got a lot going on. We got elections and things coming up, and the last thing we need is confusion within your own home. So, and it gives you some peace of mind. There's nothing like being in a nice, clean space. If anything, it makes you feel better. Um, what y'all over here talking about? You said you like your shoes. You did just don't go out as much as you used to. I feel the same way. To go to Africa, I got to those shoes and got rid of them because they were like uh high heel 3-4 inch heels, and the way my ankles and arches is working these days, there was no sense in trying to hold on to them. So I went ahead and bless some young girl who wants to walk around here and damage her feet for the future. You said you remember hurricane season, bring them being from New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans, like, I feel like they catch it way worse than we do. I don't live on the coast. I live in the central part of the state, but still, Florida's only like 3 hours across. So, a hurricane can hit the whole entire state and everybody be affected. So, if you don't have, and there's, constant water, other things that go along with a hurricane. It's stressful every year, but I'm still here. I ain't went nowhere. And honestly, haven't been through that many hurricanes as long as I've been here. So I would say at this point, it's been about four big ones. Um, that really affected the central part of Central Florida. But there's still like tornadoes and things that go along with hurricanes. So yeah, let's declutter. Let's go ahead and be prepared for the holiday season. A lot of those holiday dishes, you can shuffle things around. It's time to, don't put your summer clothes away. You don't need to get your winter clothes out yet, but at least get to the point where that transition is easy. You don't want to have to do everything at the transition of the season. Um, Thank you, love. Yeah. I mean, it's a part of life around here. It's a part of life. And, you know, you just hope for the best. You just hope for the best. Because what are you going to do, with a hurricane besides you got two options? You got hunker down and you got evacuate. So, we just move accordingly. I'd rather come home to whatever I got to deal with rather than try to hunker down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's stressful as hell talking about hunkering damn down. Well, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? A black midwife makes history, opens the first ever black owned birthing center in Central Virginia. I love that. Uh, Tahani Lawler Queen, a fourth generation midwife from Midlothian, Virginia. I'm sure I flubbed that, but y'all know what I mean. From those of you who are from that area, Midlothian. I think that's it. Midlothian, Virginia. She made history when she opened Gather Grounded Midwifery, the region's first black-owned birthing center. The birth cottage offers prenatal care, postpartum support, and a calm space for low risk deliveries outside of hospital settings. It's meant to feel like a place where people can see themselves, they can feel seen, they can feel safe. Lawler Queen said the center also trains future birth workers of color through its apprenticeship program, continuing a family legacy of midwifery while explaining the practical options for local families. Um, it says, now let's find a way to open temporary housing near her so that her sisters can come out from town. That's a good idea. I was just reading the first comment. Um, I love this. My daughter had a midwife. I had a midwife. Hey, high vibe. Um, I'd had my deliveries in a hospital, but I still had midwives. The only time I had I had physicians, but the only time I didn't have a midwife was with my first child, and my doctor was a man, and I didn't, it wasn't a bad experience, but after that, I just wanted to have I wanted to have my journey with a woman, somebody who could understand, when I'm saying what I'm feeling and she understands exactly what that means. I passed through that area many times. It's impressive. I hope that she gets lots of clients. I hope that she can start training people to do the same thing in other places. Um, Even if your facility is near a hospital, you don't want to, anything could go wrong with birth. You can have doctors on duty, but the whole process, you know what I'm saying, is it's a different experience. Like it's for low risk pregnancies, but when I had my journey with the midwife, it was just such a better experience for me. It was it felt more like being educated, you know what I'm saying, as far as what to expect, how to take care of yourself. And it wasn't just a medical, because a lot of times, you go in these hospitals and doctor's offices and you don't feel the warmth. My daughter I was very adamant about her having a doctor, a black woman as her doctor. We were able to find that. So, the whole process, like I said, the journey with your doctor is a huge deal. And, till you get to the delivery room. So I love this. I hope she's doing an apprenticing program. Maybe some of these young ladies that are passing their nursing, getting their nursing degrees that have been deemed unprofessional or not professional, child. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times the nurses want to be they want to be in the prenatal sector, but it's not always easy, because once those nurses get in the labor and delivery with those babies, they don't want to move. So yeah, I love this. Anytime we have progression with medical situations and lawyers, then yeah, I'm here for that. Um, you said I've always had better experiences with women doctors. Oh, Elsa said you. I'm in the business. Yes, I had my mother's cardiologist was a black doctor. Um, he was head of cardiology here, as a matter of fact. So it was not easy getting in with him, and I found out about him through one of my clients that are an anesthesiologist. So yeah, that's one good thing about what I do. You definitely run across people that from different careers that can give you information that you wouldn't have got otherwise. You said women doctors didn't work for you. They were not sympathetic like my male doctors. I had the opposite experience, Elsie. Even with being a caregiver for my mother, I felt like out of all the doctors, only two of them were male doctors that I felt like had a good bedside manner. Um, you said bad experiences. It was three black female doctors. Went to male, had no problems. Well, I'm glad you found, I'm glad you found a situation that worked for you. I feel like that's the most important thing, is making sure you feel comfortable. But Yeah, I do love to hear this. This can be something that can grow on, and shout out to this lovely lady for making a difference. So meet Joyce Caraway, a black educator from Dallas who never had a teacher of color growing up, founded Joybird's Treehouse and Joybird's Leadership Academy, a literacy-centered micro school training parents and teachers on how to help black children thrive. I love that. It says representation changes life. Thank you for creating the kind space for that so many children deserve. I went ahead and looked because I'm always interested in finding um, books, especially child. The way they said these kids are out here not knowing how to read, which is crazy because, I mean, it's unfortunate because I grew up in a family where, I had to read to my mother. We had books we had to read for school. We had books we had to choose for fun. Same thing with my kids. Um, they constantly, the way they be scrolling for information, both of them have information. My oldest daughter will have information on things like there's a lot of things that's just in her head that she knows for whatever reason. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they read a lot. And we do need representation when it comes to books, because maybe, I don't know, I definitely think it's a challenge to keep kids interested, but I think it's also on the parents to make sure they're reading. I would not rely on the school 100% for anything. I need to know what they're telling my kids, just in case I have to correct the wrong that's being spread around over there. But I just wanted to look at her, show y'all her website. It's really cute. I subscribe so I could go ahead and get the emails and things, but um, let's read, let's learn, let's imagine. Joybird's Treehouse supports literacy through engaging stories and creative learning experiences. We help children grow into confident readers and curious thinkers. So, just here's some of her books that she's got. There's Joybird's first fourth grade fright. Um, And when you go over there, her website is easy to navigate. When you go over there, the hard copy is $20. The soft copy, the paperback is $14. I would rather just get the hardback, just so you could have a cool library, for your kids, because they go back and read stories and read them together, and they give you a little little summary on what the book is about. You got coloring books, and I love it. Love it. She's also got ones for the little kids. So, she's got quite a selection over here. Different subject matters. Someone Like Me, Mom Miss We Cherish. Those are just a couple of the books. And most of them, I believe, come with both hard copy option. Does it? Maybe not all of them. Over 35. Oh, that's just for the orders. But yeah, I love this. And the representation looks a little, obviously the main characters are going to be black, but they have she has diverse characters in the book. So it looks more like, what your real life looks like. So shout out to that. Like I said, I went ahead and join, subscribed to the email so I can, like I said, Christmas coming around, and we can get these gifts, like not just for the kids in our house, but for kids like clients, kids, nieces, nephews, everybody needs representation. Y'all talking about still y'all talking about midwives and things. um you said your kids would get a box of books for holidays. We got books for holidays too, or birthdays, depending on who it was. I think there's always an aunt, but my mother and I used to go to the bookstore. And she would be in there doing her thing, and I did the same thing with my kids when they were little. Now you don't even have that as an excuse. You can, I not a don't have a problem with the books that that are, what do you call it? Not paper books, but online, where you can just hear the book instead of read the book. Um, but I think it's important for children to have actual books, so they can draw to their own imagination. And yeah, so I'm a book fan, and I definitely a fan of, we have multiple different artists, writers, that are making available books for us. She says she didn't have no black teachers. Did I don't think so. I didn't. I don't remember having a black teacher either. That's unfortunate. I didn't think about it then, but books. Thank you, Trey. One thing, Trey, I'm gonna need you to know. I'm so glad to see you here this morning, but the weight of menopause has a chokehold on my memory. I need all the assistance I can get. Audiobooks. Thank you. I'm fine with audiobooks for older people, but I think the little ones definitely need actual books. On to the next. On to the next. More about education. So I thought this was cool. If if you're one of the students who were just disenrolled from Howard University, Maryland has your back. We're working to provide expedited admissions, support to university systems of Maryland schools, explore financial aid options, and provide an $800 credit for impacted students. That's very dope. Uh-oh. What had happened? My bad. Let's try again. Sorry, technical different difficulties. I don't even think Mercury is still in retrograde, so I ain't gonna be able to use that as an excuse.
We've got your back. Howard University is an important institution, and we support its students. And that's why my administration is working with the University of Maryland System Schools to provide expedited admissions and financial aid options to those impacted. So if you were impacted, you can also receive an $800 credit to help offset your non-refundable Howard deposit. So reach out on email to the team on the screen, because we are here and we're ready to help.
I mean, shout out to that, because there's some parents in a panic right now because they don't know where their kids are going to be able to attend school or not. And it seems as though Howard is like, sorry about your luck, because I haven't heard anything about them doing anything to fix the situation. Maryland is not too far, you know what I'm saying, from the DC area. So I feel like it would definitely be easy, not easy, but it's not like you got to switch your whole process of going from one side of the country to another. You can still like go do DC things and maybe participate in events, go to games at Howard, still be a part of maybe that community, but at the same time getting your education. So there's 4 institutions in Maryland that are HBCUs. You got Bowie, Maryland's oldest HBCU, founded in 1865, offering strong programs in education, nursing, and computer science. So, each college, like, I feel like has as much of options. They give off different options at different schools based on what your interest is, and where you wanted to focus your studies. Copen State University is in Baltimore, an urban campus founded in 1900, known for nursing, teachers education, and human services. Morgan State University, that's in Baltimore, and it's Maryland's largest HBCU and designated public doctoral research institution with renowned programs in engineering and business. Okay, Morgan State. Um, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, a public 1890 land granted institution recognized for aviation, agricultural science, and criminal justice. So I don't know if this would be helpful to those students. I appreciate that he put it out there, and it's time. It's time for them to go to school. And like I said, I ain't heard Howard say nothing. And I feel like a lot of those kids are probably have a bad taste in their mouth as it relates to Howard. And you said you live in Maryland and there are universities a couple of miles away from Howard. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like, that whole little area over there where they can, like I said, still participate in some of the things that maybe have them attracted to Howard. But after this, going through this experience and all the tears these kids are shedding, shout out to him for thinking about them and giving them an alternative, because a lot of them were saying, like, at this point, it's probably too late to do something. They're trying to work together to get housing for these students. And okay, Governor, Maryland, keep doing what you're doing. Your governor over here, keeping his people's hands on the table. You say you pass by Howard frequently. They don't have to limit themselves to HBCUs. No, I don't think they have to limit themselves to HBCUs, but I think if that was already your decision, you know what I'm saying? If you already had planned on having that college experience, because the HBCU experience is very different from, a PWI college. And he's over here trying to help in terms of getting financial aid, an $800, stipend in order to kind of offset the money spent, you know what I'm saying, to go to Howard. The disrespect. Glad he stepped up. Yeah, I agree, High Vibe, because I was like, I heard Howard say nothing, but sorry about it. Sorry, you missed the deadline. And then we heard about the lady saying they overbooked anyway. So, and like I said, it's the last hour. It's the last hour. This may come in, to some of these students. Some of them will be dead set on their decision and maybe have planned to take a gap year. But I think this is the best of both worlds. And then there's enough options over there for your area of study. So you don't have to be limited. And, shout out to him. Like I said, at least he's over here trying to do something. Because Howard said, too bad, so sad. Here's another one to stay doing something. New York City business owners who own supermarkets and bodegas are planning to sue New York City Mayor Mamdani over taxpayer-funded supermarkets that plan to sell items at 30% discount. This is so stupid to me. So New York City business owners prepare a lawsuit over Mayor Mamdani's taxpayer-funded supermarkets. The coalition represents immigrant-owned supermarkets, bodegas, and other small businesses. Is preparing to sue New York City over Mayor Zohran Mamdani's plan to establish 5 this one really got me stuck. Municipality-owned grocery stores. It's Monday, and retrograde was just not that long ago. Business owners argue that the taxpayer-supported stores would create unfair competition because they could operate without many of the rent taxpayers' overhead expenses faced by privately owned supermarkets. Well, I mean, I feel like he said it's only going to be like in 5, you know what I'm saying? And he's trying to keep it where he's not directly competing with other supermarkets, and it's not going to carry everything. The coalition recently voted to pursue legal action in an effort to block the program. Well, I mean, they have the right to do so, I suppose. Mamdani announced that the stores will offer fresh produce, meat, seafood, and certain pantry staples at prices approximately 30% below the market average. The city has committed 70 million in capital funding and expect to open the one location in each borough. That's what I thought by 2029. One location. The mayor's administration says the program could save participating households about $90 per month. Officials also maintain that the store will avoid selling hot food, alcohol, cigarettes, lottery tickets to limit the competition with neighborhood bodegas. So they've already took into consideration how the neighborhood bodegas would be affected. And they probably down there for the alcohol and the lottery tickets and the cigarettes. The first municipal supermarket is scheduled to open in the Bronx in late 27. I mean, I guess, like I said, they have the right to sue. You said they mad because they can't exploit the customers. Bodega prices are criminal. I agree. And some grocery stores. Imagine you celebrate your high school graduating all summer. Yeah, you talk about the college students. Yeah, the bodega prices are ridiculous. In my area, you got Publix on one side and Walmart and Aldi on the other side. And I think the Aldi people go shop at Aldi, the Walmart people are going to shop at Walmart, and the Publix people are going to shop at Publix. And Publix, their prices are double. If I go in Walmart to get some cream for my coffee, it's like $2 and something. If I go to Publix to get the same cream, it's like $4 and something. Then they're right across the street. And Publix people are going to shop at Publix, and Walmart people are going to shop at Walmart. So, you know, the people will be down at that bodega still getting their cigarettes and alcohol and lottery tickets. And I think like most people, you know, they going to continue to do things for convenience. But when you have families who really can benefit from just being able to survive, child, go ahead. He's not planting them everywhere. He's putting one in each, in each borough. So like I said, they have the right to sue. Look at how they getting together. They're gonna mess around and get deported. They said immigrants. That's what they said. I'm just, reading what they said. Some countries have government subsidies restaurants so folks can afford good meals. Yeah, capitalism. You said you liked Publix when you lived in Charlotte. I like Publix too for certain things, and I generally go to both. And I'm trying to not go to either. You know what I'm saying? Me and my daughter were talking about it the other day, and I was like, we're gonna have to set aside maybe Sunday, early on Sundays, to go to the local market and get produce and our meats and things and anything like toilet paper and little other stuff. I guess I got to do what I got to do. You said you wish you had more of them everywhere. Well, if we're lucky enough to go to Africa to get more mayors that have the same mindset as Mamdani, we might see a improvement within the communities all over the place. You have to stop at more than one store. You do. And like I said, you don't see nobody suing anybody over here. And you have people that will not go to Walmart. They will not go to Walmart. They would rather just pay more money. So, it's always somebody trying to stand in the way of good. He's used to that. It seems like they've tried to stand in the way of everything he's doing. And he over there chugging right along. He showed up at work and he ain't stopped ever since. You said prices went through the roof during COVID and have only gone up since then. Yeah, because they trying to recoup. They trying to recoup the money they lost, and then once they have people, I mean, it was just last year where I was like, I bet you I won't be buying no eggs. I was buying them little thing with 6 eggs in it, and then my neighbor across the street, they got a chicken, so he was over here bringing us eggs. So, you do what you got to do. You say your garden is coming along. Well, when El Cid, when El Cid goes ahead and gets the garden, show together, we can start submitting our pictures, our garden pictures. if you live somewhere warm like I do, your garden could go on for a long time. We only have 2 months out of the year where 2-3 months at most where the weather impedes gardening. For the most part, we can run it. We can keep running it until after Christmas, because December is actually not that cold. Anyway, McDonald, keep doing what you're doing. It's always gonna be some haters. Like I said, I feel like he's used to it. He ain't stopped them. Speaking of exploiting the people, taking advantage, a woman searching for an apartment in Los Angeles says she found a place renting for $2,500 a month, but there was an unexpected condition. Residents reportedly have to pay separate monthly subscriptions just to use the key fob that unlocks the building and their apartment. Another renter claimed their complex replaced the physical key fobs with a phone app that can be slow and unreliable, leaving residents waiting outside to get in. Ciao. And not to mention exposing all your stuff because they want to get into your phone. The story has sparked a heated debate online. Some people say charging extra just to access a home you're already paying for is taking rental fees too far. I saw an article that said they wanted to charge extra for people who work from home. Others argue that it's clearly disclosed before signing the lease. Tenants can choose whether it's worth it. That's true. You can choose. I would choose not. Would you rent an apartment with the monthly fee just to unlock your own door? It's a lot. I think they be doing the most. I don't know why.
So everyone has lost their fucking mind. Apartment hunting, housing market, renting, whatever it is, you've absolutely lost your mind. So as I sit here apartment hunting here in Los Angeles, would you believe that I came across this place, $2,500 a month, okay, 1 bedroom, no utilities included, you have to pay for your parking, bare bones, 3 times the rent, $650 minimum credit, okay? I scroll down to the bottom, and I see that in order for you to access your unit that you are paying $2,500 for, okay, you must subscribe to a monthly membership to use your key fob. If you don't, you will not be able to access your unit that you pay $2,500 for. What are we doing? Hey, so everyone has lost their fucking mind.
All right, a little story time about how capitalism completely destroys our ability to thrive, let alone survive. All right. So my apartment, I have been here for 4 years now. And when I first moved in, we had a fob system for locks, right? Little gray disc that you attach to your keychain, and you just slap it up against the little magnetic-y thing, and it unlocks the main door, your door, all those things. About a year and a half to 2 years ago, we all get an email from our apartment complex that they are doing away with the fob system. And instead, we are going to be on a phone app lock system. So fobs are going away. They're going to change out all the locks on every single door, and we're all going to be using this phone app moving forward. All right, a little story time.
I mean, there's always another option. You can always just use a key. You could just go ahead and use a key. Just give me a regular key. That's what I say. High vibe. This is the thing. I think they probably start charging because of the maintenance that it probably takes for all of the malfunctions that happens with a fob. You're not about to charge me for working from home. I didn't save that article. I had it saved for a while, but yeah, they wanted to charge people for working from home. Isn't that crazy? They just always looking for a reason. Facial recognition entry. I feel like even with that, whenever there's a malfunction, they're going to have some type of maintenance. So rather than paying for that, they're going to charge you a monthly fee. I don't need no monthly fee when I walk up to the house and, use the key. That works for free. if I have to replace the key, it's, $7 maybe. I know the price to redo the key has gone up, but you used to get tax breaks from home offices. Well, this is like per landlord. So this ain't got nothing to do with your taxes. The people, I guess, is saying as if you're not paying for your cable and internet, they want to try to figure out a way to charge you more. You're not a fan of fobs. I feel like High Vibe. I feel like it's too easy for, wires to get crossed and then somebody can be able to fob their way into your house. I don't know. But I think that's probably why they're charging. You have many jokes for that comment. Share with the rest of the class, Trey. Yeah, it's not up to them. It's up to the landlord. I feel like you talking about use a key. Yeah, it's not going to be an option. They're talking about apartment buildings. I live in a house, so yeah, we don't fob over here. We go through the garage or we go through the front door, both of which, require a key. The price of housing, food, etc., is significantly lower in the Southeast Asia. I don't understand why the cost of things in this country can't be lower. Well, they absolutely can be lower. That's the thing. Mayor Mamdani is over here showing us that. Guess what, y'all? The money's over here. The money's over here, but we got people, I just read an article where Ford is adding a new safety feature to their car, but now your car, you're going to have subscriptions for things. Like you should not have to pay a subscription for your phone to attach to the Bluetooth in your car. But these are all things that, if you want these fancy things, just for them to be able to monitor your every movement. If there's a power outage, yep. If there's a power outage, then what? And you in well, this is LA. Don't matter. When I want to go in the house, I want to go in the house. I don't want to wait on, shoot. What was it? Chicago just had a big old storm that had the power out for a long time. Child, if they're going to figure out a way that, what they'll do is they'll then charge you for having to, deal with the power outage, because they're going to look for a way to make you pay for it if they don't do nothing else. Capitalism. Gotta love it. Just to switch the page a little bit, we had this person over here. It says a Houston funeral home owner is facing several felony charges after investigators say they made disturbing discoveries while raiding her business. According to the police, detectives found a Home Depot bucket filled with human organs, gross, along with 48 boxes of cremated human remains inside community funeral home during an investigation. Prosecutors say the woman identified as Unique Green, that should have been a red flag right there, was charged with, along with multiple red flags, but was charged with multiple felonies, including forgery, theft, tampering with government records. Investigators allege that she forged documents to obtain a funeral director's embalming license. Oh, this is a psycho. She also accused of trying to steal nearly $2.2 million estate of a deceased man by allegedly creating a fake will that named herself as a common law spouse and a sole beneficiary. I don't know how she thought she was going to get away with that. The man's family reportedly told investigators they had never heard of Green until they hired her to handle his funeral arrangements. This person looks sketch. I'm not sure why y'all would choose this person, to handle your funeral arrangements. I feel like they always look like this, these sketchy individuals. A Houston mother told the news outlet that she used the funeral home for both her son's services and later questioned funeral expenses tied to one of their life insurance policies. Green was recently released from Harris County Jail after posting $800,000 bond. Authorities say the investigation remains ongoing as they continue working to identify the cremated remains, determine whether additional victims may have been affected. That's wild. Anyway,
I don't have anything to say. Get out of my face.
Did you know?
I don't have nothing to say.
Did you know?
Get out. I don't have nothing to say. Get out of my face.
How did you make an $800,000
Get
bond?
out of my face. I need something to do, baby. Get you some shoes that look good.
Okay.
Where about your clothes, your uniform you got on?
Okay.
Yeah, she has no comment. This why she has no comment in the request of counsel. I'm not
I'm
going
such
to
a
allow her to
celebrity.
make any kind of
I'm a
statement.
celebrity.
Did you forge those documents?
Did your mother forge them? Did your mom forge them?
Where did that
Maybe
bucket of
your
organs come
mom
from?
forged them. Come on out of the way, baby. Get out of the
Where did the
way.
bucket of organs
Get out of the
come from?
way. They were for you to eat for lunch. Stupid. They were for you to
Oh
eat.
my.
And funeral home operator charged with theft and forgery.
Now, a grieving mother has her own separate investigation into the same funeral home. Unique Green, who presented herself as the funeral home operator, was arrested on 5 felony counts yesterday. She's accused of stealing a dead man's $2 million estate and providing forged documents to the state of Texas to obtain a mortician license.
13 Investigates Micah Hatfield has followed this story for months as that grieving mother tells her tonight she's still waiting for justice.
Mary Miller's home has been a place where she has been able to feel close to her 2 late sons, but now she says it's clouded with suspicion.
My children mattered.
For almost 6 years, Mary Miller says she hasn't known a day without grief.
It's like living in a nightmare that you don't wake up from.
In 2020, she buried her 12-year-old son, Tyree, who died by suicide. 5 years later, her 20-year-old
And funeral home operator charged with theft and forgery.
Now, a grieving
son, Markevion, died in a car crash.
Being a mother that buried 2 children in less than 5 years apart from one another is devastating.
The only piece Miller finds is here in a room she built just for them. Their photos, ashes, and other treasures are the centerpieces.
I watched you as a child. I can watch you while you're here. I'm able to come in here and sit in my memorial room for them and talk to them when I'm feeling down or when I need that extra strength.
And some breaking
But she says that piece was shattered in November.
Police raid a funeral home while a funeral was happening.
Police raided a community funeral home in the 3rd Ward. Officers were seen hauling out boxes of unclaimed ashes. The investigation, according to Houston police, potential identity theft of the dead. For Miller, the news was personal. She worked with Unique Green, who's listed as the president of a community funeral home, for both of her son's services.
When I heard the name, because the name stands out.
And Markevion died in a car crash.
This is the same person that I have an open case with an insurance company.
Green was detained during the raid, but released that day. Now this week, she was charged with 5 felonies, including forgery, theft, and tampering with a government record. Charging documents accuse Green of forging documentation to receive a funeral director and embalming license. None of the charges filed this week are related to Miller's case. While Miller is not aware of any issues of identity theft relating to her 2 sons, she did open an investigation with the company her son's life insurance policy is through, alleging that the funeral home charged his policy double the amount she had approved on one of the invoices for Markevion's funeral expenses. Investigators with the life insurance company confirmed their findings in an email to Miller. The handwriting on the document submitted to the life insurance company to increase the payment did not match Miller's, but it did match the handwriting on a past receipt she received from the funeral home.
This is the same person that I have an open case with an insurance company.
Green was detained during the raid, but released that day. Now this week, she was charged with 5 felonies, including forgery, theft, and tampering with a government record. Charging documents accuse Green of forging documentation to receive a funeral director and embalming license. None of the charges filed this week are related to Miller's case. While Miller is not aware of any issues of identity theft relating to her 2 sons, she did open an investigation with the company her son's life insurance policy is through, alleging that the funeral home charged his policy double the amount she had approved on one of the invoices for Markevion's funeral expenses. Investigators with the life insurance company confirmed their findings in an email to Miller. The handwriting on the document submitted to the life insurance company to increase the payment did not match Miller's, but it did match the handwriting on a past receipt she received from the funeral home.
This is the same person that I have.
She received from the funeral home. They also determined that the name on the submitted receipt did not appear to be Unique Green and say the name is illegible.
I don't care if it was 50 cents, $1, $100. That was something that was supposed to be towards me and my daughters to help close out his final, businesses or final debts, close out things like that.
Miller sees this as just one more thing on her already broken plate.
Like I said, there's just so much strength that you have, being a mother that has buried multiple children. It's only so much strength to be able to get up and keep calling, leaving voicemails, sending out emails. Hey, what's an update? Hey, how can I get this situation rectified?
New York Life tells us that they are aware of an issue with Miller's son's policy, but they're not able to comment. Miller told us that she has been in touch with Houston police about the investigation. She also told us that Green has given her most of the additional she received from the funeral, that she did not authorize the funeral home to charge the policy. She says New York Life has also reimbursed her. Months before Green was charged and arrested this week, she sent us a statement saying that she's unable to comment on specific allegations or claims raised. She went on to say that she denies any wrongdoing and is confident that the full facts will demonstrate that she acted lawfully and appropriately at all times. Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News. That she did not.
I don't know why these shysters always look like that. It's terrible how people try to take advantage of you while you grieving. You said Unique looks like she needs a straight jacket. Her jawline is definitely strong, child. You talk about the facial recognition fob. I mean, you shouldn't look that much different if you change your makeup tray. You should still look like the same person. High five. I was wondering the same thing. I was like, those don't even look like actual implants. They look like socks. They look like, she arched her eyebrows. I don't know who would go into a place and follow through, you know what I'm saying, in terms of funeral arrangements with this person. Because she looked like she full of it. Unique Green. It's diabolical to exploit people while they're grieving and extremely vulnerable. I think it's part of the game to go to Africa. It starts with, trying to sell you an urn for $2,000 to put the ashes in. And, they expecting you. When my mother passed away, they brought me all this whole bill and thing. And her body went from the hospital to the funeral home. And because it wasn't like at home in Michigan where, everybody know the same, funeral home director, but they, sat down and tried to basically eat up the money that was left for me and my sister. They tried to get all of that and gave me 30 minutes because, there wasn't going to be no funeral. She was going to be cremated, and her funeral actually took place in Michigan where my family is, but they made me pay $750 for 30 minutes just to view the body. So I feel like the exploitation of people starts at every funeral home. Trey, believe it or not, recognizes makeup. Yeah, because otherwise your phone wouldn't recognize you. A PhD. Didn't they say she got it online and got a license to do embalming? Shouldn't there be a whole course you need to take? I don't feel like embalming is something that you should be able to get a license for online. You said, I tell everyone with funeral to arrange, have things written down before going to the funeral home, and don't ever tell them how much your policy is. Yeah, you can't tell them anything. My mother had everything arranged, so I didn't really have to do anything. Even with the money that me and my sister were to split, we didn't have to do all we had to do was sign the paperwork, but all of that was taken care of. And yeah, they tried to sell me, these various urns, and I was like, just give me the ashes, and I'll figure that out for myself. Good morning, Lotus Egyptian Flower. Let's see. It's a man named Michael cosplay as a woman. I mean, he definitely cosplay, child. He wasn't spending she, whatever the pronouns are. Don't let me get in trouble over here. But he looked like a he. This person didn't take any of that money that they were obtaining fraudulently through these people's insurance policy to get no real work done. Now, if you're gonna do it, do it. I remember when my daughter was little, and we ran across the transgender woman, and my son pointed out to her that this person was not born female, and her response was, well, then she's going to need to shave her legs. So, Unique, at the very least, shave your legs. I would never do business with this person. I wouldn't either. They look like a shyster. I feel like those shiesty queens always look like that with their raggedy wigs and, bad eyebrows. Y'all still talking. Trey, get out the elevator with your fob. Your facial recognition. Ooh, we doing a lot to try to disguise ourselves. We need to get in the house, not stay locked out. What's next on the agenda? Well, this is a little bit wild. So, see, I feel like these are things that people don't think about. Do they have these things written into a contract? Let's find out. Who was wrong? An Alaskan nurse who agreed to become a surrogate is now in a legal battle with the baby's biological parents after she refused to end the pregnancy when the doctors diagnosed the unborn child with a serious heart condition. I thought that was illegal. I thought you couldn't just decide to do that. Is that illegal in Alaska? I guess not. According to court filings, the baby was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, a rare but potentially treatable condition that typically requires surgery shortly after birth. According to the lawsuit, the biological parents allegedly asked the surrogate to terminate the pregnancy under a clause included in the surrogacy agreement. So it's included in the clause. However, the surrogate says she couldn't go through with the procedure and instead offered to take full responsibility for the baby after birth. Court documents claim the offer was rejected, and she alleges the biological parents then threatened to sue her for $250,000 if she didn't comply. How pregnant is she? Because if that's the lady, it seems like it's too late. I'm just saying. She also fears the child may not receive the life-saving surgeries doctors say could improve the baby's chance of survival. The biological parents have denied her allegations, arguing she has misrepresented the facts and that her claims are inaccurate. The surrogate has since left for Texas, where she hopes to give birth at a hospital with a specialist experienced in treating babies with complex heart conditions. Meanwhile, legal proceedings are continuing in multiple states as both sides are fight over where the baby should be born and what happens after delivery. I mean, so if you want her to terminate and she says, I'm not going to do it, I'm just, don't worry about it. I'll raise this child. What happens after that? It's like the chair, El Cid. Once you have the baby, now do you go on it back after she gets the heart fixed? I don't know. It's in the clause. I don't know how far along she is pregnant and how legal is it to be terminating a pregnancy after a certain amount of time. She left for Texas because they can't be forced to end her pregnancy. Yep. I don't know. I feel like you impregnated this woman. She carried your baby for y'all to just be like, never mind, the baby's broken, we don't want it. I kind of stand with her too, High Vibe. I mean, it's in the contract, and what contracts are meant to be broken, ain't that what they say? If you don't want to have anything to do with the baby, I guess you relinquish your rights. Like, what is the $250,000 for? Y'all are suing her for $250,000 for what? Because at the end of the day, you don't lose anything. She terminates the baby or not. And if she has this surgery for the baby and now, the baby, is okay, then what? You're going to be like, oh, well, we changed our mind. We want our baby back. You said that's a very complicated situation that involves so many problematic and legal ethical issues. You're right to go to Africa. And, as time moves on and she gets farther along in this pregnancy, what are you saying in terms of termination? Like, how pregnant is she? I don't remember seeing that anywhere. You got a lot of questions. We all do. Lotus Egyptian flower. Like I said, how pregnant is she? Because I feel like you got to get to a certain stage before they can even start performing these types of tests on you. Now that kid will grow up not with bio parents. Well, they the ones decided to change their mind. They're the ones that are like, we don't want it. Unless this baby is absolutely perfect, no such thing, then we don't want it. We can say absolutely healthy, but that's a risk you run. So I'm guessing the mother, if she were able to carry a child, then she would just have aborted it unless it was perfect. Maybe they don't need to be parents. Because I feel like as a parent, if you have two people that conceive a baby, the way, through the old fashioned way, the innie and the outie, then you just gonna get rid of it if something is wrong. And there's a line, like you can't terminate after a certain amount of months. Legally, she has no rights to the kid. Oh, that's wild. I'm concerned that if these people get that baby back, the $250 was her payment. Oh, well, I mean, she made a decision. She decided she was going to go to Texas. Ooh, she's serious if she just took herself to Texas. I feel like this makes sense, honestly. I mean, she did sign the contract, but it makes sense that somebody who would be willing to sacrifice their uterus and carry a baby for you would then be the same person that would say, I'm not going to terminate this pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? It seems to me like the same mindset. I would find it odd if she did say, okay, fine, we'll just, not do it. Yeah, I feel bad for the kid who, could possibly be then in a court battle with some people that wanted to abort them. And she says she cannot be in Texas with all these Abbott watchers out here. Abbott, what is that? Oh, you talking about? Listen, I don't know. It's another one of those situations I find to be completely I don't know. Like, I'm at a loss for words. What do you do? I don't know that I would be able to be a surrogate. That's not my ministry. Or that I would feel like I wanted a baby bad enough to have a surrogate. I feel like if there was a situation where I was not able to conceive children, I don't know that I would be that person that would go all out, and have a surrogate to have one, I would probably have accepted, the role as auntie and let it be that. But, here we are. So I guess, she's in Texas. Only a few months will tell like what the outcome is. I feel like we haven't heard the last of this story, but it's wild to me that you could even put that in a contract, that you could write a contract and say, we don't want it, because that's the risk you take. Yeah. I would be more inclined to adopt probably High Vibe than I would be to get a surrogate, because for me, it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. These people out here throwing surrogate around like it's nothing. I would like to have a boy with green eyes, and you go down to the baby menu and pick it like it's a salad. The contract system, the parents decide if the child is born. I hear what you're saying, Elsie, but also this lady is in Texas with a full belly. And so at the end of the day, the conversation of termination seems to be over. It's just a matter of now, like, who's going to be having custody of the children. You have to put it in a clause in case of birth defects, etc. I get it. And she said no. She said she's not gonna do it. Now what? You gonna chase her down and do what? Tie her down to a table and force her to do it? It's not gonna happen. They're gonna have to start walking around. They're gonna have to start figuring out what it is they want to do with their baby, because the baby gonna be born. So there's that. Her travel without parents' permission is also a violation. Okay. And what? I mean, even if she came back to what are they going to do? How are they going to force her to terminate? I don't know. And in most cases, states right now, so many states, you can't, I don't know. It's the risk you take, I suppose, when you become a parents to a surrogate. The lady is in control of the situation for the next 9 months until that baby is born. And yeah, but violation, what do? Put a strike on her card, on her surrogate card, because she says she's not terminating. So, there's that's why I said I probably wouldn't have even done it anyway. I probably would be just more inclined to adopt or just not altogether. This was interesting to me. What would y'all do? A woman has social media cracking up after sharing how she handled the first date that didn't exactly start with the impression she expected. In a now viral post, she revealed that a grown-ass man arrived for their first date wearing sweatpants and slides. While she admitted he earned points for showing up with a bouquet of roses, his outfit prompted an unexpected response. Instead of overlooking it, she said she took the flowers inside, placed them in a vase, and changed out of her own outfit into sweatpants and slides before heading back out to meet him. She hilariously summed up the experience by writing, I went out on a first date. I went out on a first date last night. Grown-ass man, by the way, and he showed up wearing sweatpants and slides. He also brought roses, so I went back inside and put roses in a vase. I also changed into sweatpants and slides. We're both not giving an F together. I feel like that was a lot of effort. The post quickly sparked debate online. Some users applauded the woman's sense of humor, saying her response perfectly matched her date's energy. Others argued that showing up with the first date in sweatpants is a sign of low effort. I agree. Regardless of the flowers, while some felt the thoughtful gesture of bringing roses outweighed the casual attire. What do you think? I appreciate her sense of humor. I'll say that. She showed she has no boundaries. That's what I was thinking. High vibe. I was like, but then what happens after that? He had laundry day and other date. I mean, I don't think it's unusual to ask where are we going? Because I want to know how I'm supposed to be dressed. So where are we going on this date? Do you want to go? Can I take you out? Sure. What are we going to be doing? I feel like you need to know where you're going in order to dress appropriately. I guess I appreciate her sense of humor, but I don't know that I would have went through all that trouble. Obviously, no conversation was had about the dress code itself. That's what I said, Trey. Did she ask him what are we doing? Where are we going? So I don't know what she was dressed like before she put on her sweatpants, but I don't know that I would have changed clothes, but he would have been written off. I probably would have went on a day and, he would just have to be, eventually just, leave that alone, because you set the bar so low. Like you asked me out. At the very least, you could put some clothes on. Sweatpants and slides. It's the slides for me. I don't know, because I know tracksuits can be very expensive. I know some guys that's their vibe. And depending on the tracksuit, you know what I'm saying? It's the slides for me. You ain't even want to put no shoes on to take me out. Should the dress code conversation be had before the first date? I I think so, Lotus Egyptian Flower. I think it should. Like you know, can I take you out to dinner? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? I feel like that's something that you know. You say that just says he doesn't give a F. I agree. He doesn't. He's not putting in any effort. We talk about that in watching Ready to Love all the time, how the guys show up, the girls show up looking absolutely stunning, and the guys show up, sometimes they just be in some khakis and a polo shirt. So a sweatsuit, that's so casual. That's so casual. Yeah, I don't care if he has sneakers on. I'm still gonna be feeling some type of way. He should have said my clothes got ruined on the ride. I don't think he thought about it. I think he was like, I think he expects not to have to do much, unfortunately. I think he expects not to have to do much. This is not what you were on a date. He's not in any way interested to try to look nice for this lady. I'll be expecting a haircut. Like if you ain't been to the barbershop, you know, let's maybe don't do it this week. I have expectations of what, even if it's a casual date, you can say that, but some slides and a sweatsuit, I'm not here for it. If the person needs a conversation on how to dress, we should not be talking. I mean, I don't feel like Lotus Egyptian Flower, I don't think it's necessarily so much about what you're wearing as to where you're going. So, you know what I'm saying? So, what are we doing? I'm going to take you to the movies. We're going to go, you know, out to dinner. First dates generally, like, you're not going to surprise me because I don't know you like that. And I need to be able to tell my people, you know what I'm saying? He didn't come in her house, but she clearly went off with him. She brought the roses into her house. She changed clothes and she went off with him. So I need to know where I'm going. She's done this before. She proved it works. I mean, we show over and over again based on these reality shows that we watch, you know, how low our expectations are. But I'm gonna need you to show up and you know, look good, smell good, and act like you glad to see me, you know, because I'm gonna do the same. And I'm gonna dress accordingly. You said I would have to know about his plans before I pass judgment. If he was not clean, I wouldn't be happy. He was probably clean, like I said, to go to Africa. Sometimes these sweatsuits are very expensive. And if he would have showed up with some $200 Nikes, you know what I'm saying? Tell me where we're going, though, so I can be just as comfortable. And, you know, if we're going somewhere where, you know, it requires, where do you go though, that, you know, sweatpants is, I just feel like that's the, you know, the very, you know, this is the first date. This, you know, trying to impress me a little bit. You said, I wonder if there will be a second date. Well, she gave him points for the flowers, so probably. She just met him where he at. And so that means, you know, y'all don't look forward to going somewhere nice because that's clearly not, you know, how he does things. He kept it casual. Unless he invited her for a 5-star restaurant, it shouldn't be an issue. I don't think it has to be 5-star. Like I said, for me, it's them damn slides. To me, the slides just say something very different. It's not like, you know, you really plan to go doing too much. I think I just say, you know, let me know what we're doing. It's the first date. I don't even expect a 5-star restaurant on the first date. I think that's doing a lot. And it makes me also uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking me somewhere where the expectation is this, I think it's like a version of love bombing and setting an expectation that you're probably not going to follow through on. I don't need a 5-star date. I don't need us to be dressed to the hill. I just need you to put some damn shoes on. And, you know, just like we're going to somewhere nice. And because like I said, a tracksuit can be expensive. He can show up there with, you know, a polo, Gucci, whatever tracksuit on. Put some shoes on. Put some shoes on. And I'm not mad at her getting comfortable though, because at least looks like we're going somewhere that doesn't require a whole lot. So let me take off these heels and these cute little jeans, and I will put on a sweatsuit too, and then we'll see what happens after that. Only okay if he owns the sweatpants. Like I said, they could be expensive now. If it said Balenciaga all over, she gonna feel it. That shit costs more than some darn jeans and a shirt, depending. If we're going on an activity date, then you wearing a cocktail dress will not work. A conversation, I agree, Trey Mac. Like, how am I supposed to know how to dress if I don't know what we doing? You know, and if we're going to the movies and, you know, she had on something casual, everybody got different standards, I guess. The slides let you see if he gets his toes done. He's got socks on. In this picture, he got socks on with his slides, and I don't want to see your toes on no first date. You're moving too fast, El Cid. We're not exposing toes, but don't do that. And slides and socks, I don't get it. The fact that he brought flowers showed that he did make some effort to impress her, and she was good with it. She was good with it. I can't judge, honestly. I would have to say it would depend for me how the date went. But if the man shows up with some slides, I would probably just say something rather than change my clothes. I don't know. No, you didn't come over here without your shoes on. Maybe he could make up for it. I don't know. Yes, the conversation should be had about where we're going, but not how to dress. Definitely not how to dress. But I think if you're dressed one way and he shows up with, you know, a sweatsuit on, to the point, like, what does she have on? We don't know that. We just know that she went and changed clothes because we both don't give a. That's how she looks at it. But if you think we don't give a, then why are you going? You know? So, yeah. I don't know. I've never experienced this. I don't like slides with socks, and I don't want to see your toes on the first date. So, you know, we all got different standards, I suppose. You said you with El Cid, you got to see them toes, what them dogs look like. I don't want to see your dogs. Not on the first date. I don't want to see your dogs on the first date. Now, you know, women generally wear shoes where the toes are out. I don't have any issues. I got cute toes, so I'm not worried about exposing them, but I don't want to see yours. Oh, on to more relationship things. They spent 10 years together, but he never proposed. Just 6 months after the breakup, he married someone else. Stories like this have fueled the debate over the idea of a starter wife, the partner who helps someone grow into a person they're ready to marry, only for someone else to receive the commitment. Do men marry when they find the right woman, or when they're finally ready to be a husband? I mean, if you waited 10 years and your goal was to be somebody's wife, I feel like you wasted your own damn time. That's just my opinion. I, you know, go into relationships not looking to be wifed up. If you don't give a damn, we don't give a hey. I know that's right, El Cid. Yeah, I don't understand this, and I feel like if he's taken 10 years to make this decision, yeah, he never was going to marry you in the first place. That's just my opinion. You said first comment: if a man doesn't give you a ring after 2 years of dating, leave. If you were the one, he would have already proposed. I think 2 years is probably the time to start having that conversation for people that want to be married. If marriage is not the end goal, I don't think there's any number in terms of how many years you should be dating someone. But after 10 years and he married somebody else, then he was never going to marry you in the first place. You said, oh, I feel judged. That was Mr. El Cid. We married 1.5 years after meeting. He was with another for for years before that. I mean, that's not a judgment on you. He was with another for years before he met you. And that means that wasn't the person he wanted to be married to. Sometimes you're in a relationship and it just is what it is while you're in it. If you're on the other hand, that's your goal. You want to be a wife. You want to be a wife. I want to be the wife. I want the ring. Then if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If that's your goal, waiting around for 10 years is on you. Because, for a woman, if you're talking about having children, there's a timeline here where things need to happen. You were married 1.5 years after meeting. I think that's the norm, though, at least to have to. I mean, for some, that's fast. I think after a year, though, maybe 2, it's time to start making that decision. If that's the end goal, you have to at least start talking about, are you trying to be married or not? And I think the older you get, the less time you're going to spend, hemming and hawing over that. You know what I mean? When you're in your 20s and you got time, then you take your time. 10 years is a lot of time to take. And then as you get older, you like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? We grown here. So what's actually about to be happening? And if you're not trying to do it, then, I'm going to need to move on, because for me, being married is a requirement. That's my standard. Not me, but I'm just saying, for a person that wants to get married. This is why you have to have standards. 10 years as a placeholder. He was just receiving wife things without being a husband. And, that's on her. Had she ever talked to this man about what the goal is? Because, I feel like most women that are for real about being married are always, let you know, I'm not about to stick around here forever. So if we haven't made this decision, and I never want to be married to somebody who I have to give an ultimatum. I would just have to be like, I feel like I don't want to spend the rest of my life being somebody's girlfriend. And you clearly, are not thinking of me, as your future. So maybe we should do other things with other people. I said no ring, didn't want marriage. That's the funny part. You never know who come into your life, Elsa, to change your mind. My mind has not been changed, but it could happen. Never say never. You said your parents dated for 10 years. In a few days, they will be celebrating 45 years of Till Death Do Us Part. They dated 10 years. So are they not dating, obviously, after 45 years, and they still together, but did they ever get married? My sister dated her husband for 12 years, I feel like, and then they got married, and then they were divorced within 2 years. And then after they divorced, they were best friends. And so, yeah. You said, yes, they got married. How long? You said after 10 years. After 10 years, they got married. Clearly, your mother wasn't like, oh, you better marry me, or, I feel like that's not the goal always of some people. Some people are in their relationship and their goal is not marriage. And then they decide after, however many years. But this lady is like, they broke up and he went ahead and married somebody else after 6 months. So it just was not, you was not the one. You said, I at least need 2 to 3 years most of the time. Men mass usually slips quickly. Women, their mass can hold up at least 2 years. I feel like that's a decent timeline though, Trey, depending on when you're talking about having children and, that comes into play in terms of, biological clocks ticking. That's why when you get ladies in their late 30s, they be like, listen, I'm not going to be around here. I only got a few minutes left before I'm, reach that baby window. So the pressure is different. But I think after 2 years, you definitely get to know a person, well enough to start having that conversation. Everybody's not the same. Some people, married at first sight. Ooh, that's hilarious to me. But I don't think that's an unreasonable amount of time. If you plan on being married, I go into my relationship saying I'm not getting married. So hopefully that's not the plan. You said the mask will slip way before that. Ladies got to pay attention. I think he means the men. The men mask will slip, and then the ladies be on there, because they holding out for the ring. That's why they can, hold on for longer than the men, because they like, let me keep up this facade until, he put a ring on it. Women need to escape the Lululand. Not all women are queens, not all worthy of a ring. Ooh, oh my. Also, men are walking away from marriage, so the ones that still thinking about it, won't want it to be rushed. I don't know. I feel like I said, if you go into it not necessarily wanting to get married, my mindset is different. I live in my relationship like from day to day. And then the reason why I feel that way is because you can get married and still be like, I changed my mind. Now it costs money to undo it. You know what I'm saying? I get, for me, like legally how things are different when you're married. You can't just walk away and assets and things are attached. But in a relationship, you got to decide to be there day after day after day until you're not feeling that anymore. Or if you continue to, you live in your life and you're in it. That's just the way I am. If I'm looking for a marriage, this conversation needs to happen early on in the relationship. Before you lay your tail down with somebody and get all intimate with them, I think there should be an understanding as to what is it do you want. That doesn't mean you're going to get what you want, but at least you're not on a date with a man on some flip-flops on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all having conversations. You stand by what I said, 2 to 3 years. Well, who trying to rush you, Trey? You can have 2 to 3 years you want to. She did choose violence. She said, worthy. Women need to escape the Lululand. Not all women are queens. So there you have it. You said there are many things to consider. Some people have things they want to accomplish before they get married, like finishing school. I agree. And becoming more financially stable, especially when you're younger. And then you find out that this ain't really the person you want to be with. At the end of the day, I think women a lot of times go into relationships thinking that they can convince someone. I think they also feel like, I'm not speaking for all women, but I think a lot of women feel like once you sleep with someone, that changes things. And I think for men, it doesn't necessarily. They can like you, but that's not what it is. And they're not ready to get married until they're ready. And I feel like that plays into, like you said, to go to Africa, things you want to accomplish, things you want to do before you take that next step. You remember Shannon and Donna from Ready to Love Detroit? I do. They were only thinking about timelines because of their biological clock. It's true. It's true, but I don't know that necessarily works in time for marriage. And then that's what happens. Not so much Shannon, but Donna, like she was, mathematical in the way she thinks about things. But when you want to work, you want to do things in terms of your career. But as a woman, you have to realize that your biological clock is still ticking. And then you get to that road and you're not even invested in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You're not even invested in a relationship so that once you're done with school, you can move forward to the next step. The focus is just about work. And then now you're 35 and you're not in a relationship. Now you're close to 40 and you're like, oh my God, I got to have this baby. And it just doesn't work like that. So, if marriage is your plan, if that's your long-term plan, then you need to be working that into your schedule along with your schooling and whatever else you have going on. And hopefully you find the one. And that still don't mean you won't be somewhere raising a child by yourself. A woman's worth is not based on her proximity to a man. Say it loud, child. Say it loud. A queen does not need to have a king to receive her crown. Because why? Because we already got it. You came to the table with your crown already. I think that's a lot of times why women find themselves in this situation, though, where they're like, oh my God, he married the next girl. Yeah. But again, that was on you, because he might be perfectly fine, obviously, with the relationship the way it is. And if you're not, you the one decided to stay. Everybody needs to be getting what they want out of the relationship, or it's not going to work. To go to Africa, that was my father's blueprint before he married my mother. She waited for him to achieve those goals. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. A lot of times people partner up and then they're lost because they haven't put any time into just like what is it, Married at First Sight? This lady ready to sign up to working behind the desk at the damn porta potty office when that don't have nothing to do with what she really wants to do. You know what I mean? I have all these hopes and dreams, but in order for this man to stay around, I'm gonna shovel shit. No, I'm not. Those were your goals. I don't believe I feel like you absolutely need to have your goals and follow your goals. I also feel like if you're going to be this person that's determined that marriage is your end game, you need to somehow figure out how that fits into your goals. Because if you get to the end of the road, and like I said, you 35, 37 years old, now you want to hurry up and have babies, but you don't have a relationship. If you date and Trey, you got 3 years before he even gonna think about it. And I don't think that's unreasonable. A year go by so fast. You said Belle in the potty business? Yes. Why do I want to do that? She's never ever in her life thought about being somewhere in the potty business. She talking about you look cute in your uniform. I guess, child. Because I would be looking at him like, so do you plan to take over? Like, what's your, you know what I'm saying? What's supposed to happen here? Yeah, I think your grandmother's very nice, but I don't want to be over here at the potty place. So the real scenario should be that this guy plans to take over the business and hire other people to go, clean the porta potties. So, child, she over here volunteering for that. If you show up to me in some daggone workbook boots, and then my date is to follow you to the porta potty, we will never see each other again. Mecca is spoiled. Who's responsible? His grandmothers? We have a tendency to do that, child. She said he looked cute. She did say that. She did say that. She said he smelled. She did not say he smelled nice, and he has a black fingernail polish on, so we don't even know what it looked like underneath his fingernails. Mecca, we ain't even over here to talk about that. They're already married, and would likely be a cute couple, honestly. But they like to put people with issues together. Yeah, marriage is a business, and if you're not including it in your business plan, then you just, I guess it's the luck of the draw. That's why he said you're more into me than I am into you. She absolutely proved it. The point in which she walked her happy ass into that porta potty truck, I would have been like, whoa. Did she ask to go with him? Or was that just a great idea? Like, who brings their partner to work? Who is at take your partner to work day? I don't take my date to the salon and be like, I want you to see for real what I do. And yeah, she's definitely more into him than he is into her. And there's so much more to unpack there, but we're gonna leave it at that. On that note, first time you take your happy ass down to a porta potty date, you have sealed the casket. It's over. It's a wrap. A woman should never build her life for a career around a man. What does she do when things don't work out? She be down to the lawyer's office talking about like Leticia Pearson on Bell Collective, talking about he left me with $4 in my bank account. You said your husband don't come to your office, your coworkers don't know what he looks like even. Well, when you leave the enterprise, El Cid, I feel like you're a whole special agent, and your key fob don't always work everywhere. You got one place where recognize your key fob, and then you get inside the enterprise, and it's a whole nother situation. But yeah, I don't blame you. What is your husband at your work for? Unless has my man been to my job? Yeah, but it's a salon. He don't go hang out there. He may have come through there to bring me lunch or what have you, but not not come hang out. Come watch me do this blow dry, so you can see what I do for a living. Anyway, yeah. So I guess, ladies, y'all need to rethink what it is you want when it comes to marriage. And sticking around for 10 years waiting on a ring is ridiculous. Some people stick around, and what do they get? Text messages from the slide. So, till death, Tyler LaPlace seemingly responds after an account alleged that he cheated on Miracle Watts before their wedding. These people just got married last week, I think. I know, I just saw it. Tyler LaPlace shared a post with his newlywed wife. Yeah, they've been together for a minute. They had the baby first, and then they had the wedding. See, she got the man and the wedding and some text messages that seemingly lets us know that her man is still outside. It says Miracle Watts seemingly laying some rumors to rest after liking a comment about the couple being in an open marriage. His response comes days after the account leaked screenshots alleging that Tyler had been cheating before the two said, "I do." Who's in an open marriage? He liked the... It said Tyler shared a post with his newlywed wife, Miracle Watts. Oh, yeah, he was the one liking the text about the open marriage. That's what I thought. Okay. There's been speculation about the credibility of a certain post, but a trusted source confirmed to the Shade Room that Tyler's number was included in the screenshots. The conversation between Tyler and the mystery woman revealed details about their alleged link-up while Tyler was on a press tour for a movie last year with timestamps verifying his visit to New York. The Shade Room reached out to Tyler's representatives for confirmation or clarification regarding the rumor, but they have not received a response. Really? What did you want the man to say? However, both Tyler and Miracle appear to be shutting down speculation by sharing joyful moments from their wedding. I mean, we can look at both. We can look at the beautiful wedding picture. Now, I remember before Tyler and this girl got together, Miracle, rumor has it that he was involved with Tyler Perry. It wouldn't surprise me. Anybody to be over there in Tyler Perry's studios is suspect to me. But the mother of his first child, there was like discourse between them. I think Miracle was posting the lady's kids on the internet, talking, referring to them as her child or whatever. But I know they went into this relationship with some mess. Now here's some more mess. So here's the text message. Let's see. I can't grow it. The text message says, "Hey you, what you up to tonight?" And LOL, what you mad for? And then there's a voice text. So we don't know what was said right there, but it says Tyler right underneath it. And then it says, "Oh, guess you blocked me by accident," laughing emoji. Want a link today? And what is the response? "I deactivated my page." Yeah, what time? I'll tell you. I tell you to pull up now if it was up to me. I'm busy from 3 to 4. Otherwise, I'm open. I have an appointment in Brooklyn today at 3. So I guess around 5. So they planning to link up. This is all the lady put out the text messages that she has kept in her arsenal. Y'all gonna learn how to have incognito, fake names, burner phones or something if you're gonna be out here this raggedy. So it appears as though she asked the man for some help. And so he cashed up her $20. It says, call me. And then it says 15 minutes here. My bad. It ended up being switched around. We ended up going to the strip club. So this is about some plans they had. It's okay. You back in LA? LOL. I'm working. How much you need? So he sent $20. Let me go back. She keeping the things, the receipts. Welcome to Zelle. And he Zelled her $20. I don't know what she needed $20 for a child. Then he Zelled her $350, which appears to be for some hair. So he out here buying bundles. Oh my gosh, the fact that she saved all this stuff is so wild to me. Because why? Because she knows he's in a relationship. So she's somewhere, reveling in the fact that, this man is engaging with her. So she sends this side face emoji and he says, LOL, what is the stank face for? You're the one tired. And she says, because you don't know how much I want to. And then she makes another face, surprise, whatever that face is. And then he says, then come through. You mad close. And she says, I want to, but my period is kind of ending right now. Y'all are gross. So I don't want to ruin the mood, to be honest. And he says, we got a shower for that. We grown. And she makes the surprise face. And then she says, LOL. Okay. Ugh. And then she shows the hotel. So this is the hotel that, they met up at. Why do y'all do this? I'm not sure what is supposed to happen here. I'm not sure what's supposed to happen here. The people said they together for life. So after all of that, they did the news publication. What is this? Not news publication, child. The blog, the Shade Room. They done reached out to Tyler. Well, what is he supposed to say? Yes, I've confirmed these receipts. I mean, it's a wrap. This was from, when you look at the date, let me see, on these daggone text messages. Because like I said, they just got married last week. This is from February 2023. This was all happening 3 years ago. So why now? She's been holding on to this for what? She waited until these people walked down the aisle for her to say something. He hired him to act in the have and have nots when he couldn't even act. His acting is very subpar. I think that goes along with Tyler Perry movies. You said, I guess Tyler prioritizes his looks over acting. Yeah, he does. He does. You can pretty much tell a Tyler Perry actor. They're, they have their version of handsome. Why does these girls do this? I don't understand. I don't understand this, I'm going to keep all of these text messages to prove what? That he, was out here in these streets. I would say my biggest concern out of this miracle, your man was out here, having sex with somebody on their period. Is he protecting himself? Since y'all is together for life, make sure he covers that thing up. Here's another one. Another one bites the dust. Oh, these marriages just can't. Brittany, two down. Brittany is 2 down and 3 kids in. Here's why Brittany Griner demanded a DNA test. This is for the first wife. I didn't even realize she had a first wife, but she was married before. Brittany Griner's marriage to former WNBA player Gloria Johnson lasted just 28 days. So let me continue. One day before Brittany filed for divorce, Gloria announced that she was pregnant with twins conceived through IVF. They got married 28 days. They were planning, IVF. So obviously this relationship has been going on. They were acting as married people before they actually got married. And then when the lady got pregnant, Brittany wanted to question the paternity of the baby. Before the split, the couple had reportedly agreed to have children together and selected a sperm donor. However, Brittany questioned whether that donor had actually been used and believed Gloria's ex-boyfriend could be the biological father, so she requested a DNA test. I bet you the test gonna prove it ain't yours. Regardless to who the father was, does that really make a difference? According to reports, the results confirmed the agreed upon donor had been used. Brittany then accepted legal responsibility as the father and agreed to pay child support. Child, no, Brittany wasn't out here trying to dodge child support. Now that just sounds just like a nigga. I want a DNA test. Girl, from a family law standpoint, IVF agreements consent to assisted reproduction and legal parentage, not biology ones, can determine child support obligations. What do y'all think? If Brittany's ex-wife was pregnant by her ex and not the donor, should Brittany still remain legally responsible? No, I guess, like, according to the contract, they got to follow through with the donor that they agreed on. She may not be the father. That's how they put it. Isn't that ridiculous? Why did they put it that way? You said the young lady was wrong to release these messages right after the wedding, though Miracle does not care because the way she was snorting and crying after the altar, she was at the altar crying, made it seem unreal. I don't know about all that crying at the altar. It's so performative to me. Yeah, they gonna say the lady, not the father. Welcome to equality. I mean, child, it seems as though, anyway, I don't want to say the wrong thing. After all the Russia incident and Brittany wants to do this now. This wasn't even that wife. She's on to number 2. This was the first wife. Just imagine y'all traded her for the merchant of death. I got a video about that. Who sent it to me? I think it was Lotus Egyptian Flower. I'll play it for you in a minute. So these arrangements, the donor and the other female partner has treated as the father. I guess whoever doesn't carry the baby, would be considered the father. And Brittany is they both getting a WNBA check, but unless Brittany wants to push a baby out of her, vagina. And then here she is with another one. Brittany sounds like a whole man for real now, so I'm guessing she transitioned. I don't like to be messing with people's, pronouns and things, but and so I don't know. I'll just call her they. Brittany Griner and her wife Sherelle Griner are ending their marriage. According to People, the WNBA star filed for divorce in Fulton County, Georgia on Thursday, July 30th. After nearly 8 years together, in filing, Brittany described the marriage as irretrievably broken and stated that the couple has been separated since July 24th. She said that like that was a long time ago. We just at the 3rd of August. July 24th was a week ago. Oh my God. The couple, who met while attending Baylor University, married in 2018 and shared a 2-year-old son, Bash. Brittany is seeking joint legal custody of their son, as well as an equitable division of the couple's marital assets while retaining her separate non-marital property. I mean, I guess that's fair, child. Sherelle became widely known for advocating tirelessly on Brittany's behalf after the basketball star was detained in Russia in 2022 on drug charges. Following Brittany's release, a high-profile prisoner exchange later that year, the couple frequently spoke publicly about building their lives together and eventually welcomed their son. I'm laughing because of the trade. As the people were saying, Brittany, they let a known killer out just to get you back, and here you are. I don't know. I don't know why one thing has anything to do with the other, but now that Brittany, nobody says she cheated or anything. They just said she changed her mind and she don't want she don't want to be married anymore. I don't see the dilemma. They need a sperm in the equation. Right, but I guess, this is the thing, High Vibe. If the sperm wasn't from the agreed donor, then Brittany is off the hook for child support, and that ex-boyfriend will have to pay child support. But the people said, nope, it's the chosen sperm donor. So, girl, you're going to have to write that check. She's a whole ninja. She absolutely is in real life. If she's in abusive, that's probably the best outcome for her. Is that what the people said? Research has shown that lesbians can be more physically abusive or as a man in the relationship. I didn't hear nothing about that to go to Africa. So, yeah, that's information I don't know, allegedly. Sounds like that girl and her boyfriend are treating Brittany like a dude. He got her pregnant and then tricked Brittany into supporting them by paying child support. No, because the donor in the first marriage was not the boyfriend. Brittany just pulled that out of her ass because she didn't want to pay child support. Now, they apparently were together. I'm talking about the first wife. They were together. They went through this whole IVF treatment. And then Brittany changed her mind. But before, they could divorce, she found out the lady was pregnant. So this must have been one of those whirlwind, in and out marriages. But they took the time to be, going through the process of IVF. She does in that picture. She looks like she could be one of the Ball siblings. And based on the way she act like she could be one of the Ball siblings. We're going to listen to this lady break it down. She has something to say about how Brittany is out here moving in these streets. I'm like, I guess she asking for divorces. They didn't say what she did. She said irretrievably, they can't make it.
You can't trust no stud like Brittany Griner. Look, she's divorcing her second wife, the one who fought for freedom for her. But let's take a little backstory. She left the first damn wife with them damn twins that they planned for. You know how hard it is for two girls to have some damn babies, let alone twins? You know how much planning you got to do for that? And she just left her high and dry. I don't want them damn kids. Then that second wife, when you got caught with that stuff in your bag, right? And you was over there freezing in that Russian jail, that second wife helped you, right? Went to the president of the United States. He didn't know nothing about you. He didn't know nothing about a WNBA player named Brittany Griner. And he let a crazy man out of jail for you. All because of that second wife was fighting hard for you. And you turn around and divorce her. No, you owe her everything, your life, in your life. Because you will be still sitting in that jail today. Getting hardcore. You know what I'm talking about. They would have been they would have been raping you by now. And that girl fought for you. And you're gonna divorce her. Lady, stay the hell away from Brittany Griner. She's a disloyal stud. You can't trust no stud.
She's a disloyal stud. I'm crying. What did Brittany do besides for ask for a divorce? She don't want to be with that lady anymore. Does she have to owe her whole life to that lady? You know what I'm saying? I would say, even though it's a lesbian relationship, she has joined the Life After Lockup crew. It's so many women out here fighting for their life to get their man justice down to the jailhouse. And so she, this young lady, she's no different. And she done came over here. She done married Brittany Griner. It seems like she didn't read the, what do they call it? The Google reviews. She did not read the Google reviews, the Yelp reviews, because Brittany came with some, reviews before you went over here and, had a baby with her and everything. I don't know whose sperm was donated over here in order to produce this second child. So now Brittany got 3 kids and 2 baby mamas, and looks like some more child support to pay. I don't know. Y'all said y'all think if Brittany was gonna do this, she should have stayed in jail. Is that what y'all are saying? It sounds like lesbians are finding out how much of a headache women are. How much of a headache women are. I mean, listen. There are 2 women allegedly in this scenario. And like I said, I don't know what Brittany's pronouns are, but I know she does not have any sperm to produce any children. So she's on the hook for child support. Now, do we want her to still be in jail? That's the question. I don't. I mean, I'm glad she's not still in Russia. Y'all are, because she divorced her wife. Y'all are like, should have left her ass over there. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm going to say y'all might be doing too much. Anyway, shout out to Brittany. Spend that shit. Spend that shit. She going to have to spend it on child support. So, Candy, I know y'all heard this story about Tamar was over to some event down at the Essence Fest, and she took it upon herself to go try to say congratulations or whatever she said to Candy. Tamar, she got a beef with everybody. But Candy came over to the internet on her speak on it. I guess, when I saw this, I thought about Funky Dineva when him and Tamar got into it, and he went over there. He said, "You're going to pay me for my pain." And he made all them videos and made that money off of telling that story about Tamar and her teeth incident. I guess Candy decided to do the same thing. I guess she's like, "You're going to come over here, throwing shade or whatever, subliminals and whatever it is she's doing." So Candy decided to go ahead and get a check off of this story about Tamar. So, did y'all know?
Reaction out of me, because to the public, she got y'all thinking that I'm some sort of bully, that I'm a mean girl. This ain't the first time. Let me tell you something. There's another thing that, let me just tell you. It's so many things that have happened that y'all don't even be privy to. Oh, fucking yeah. 2025. Remember, it was something that she had been talking trash about me online or whatever. And then on the red carpet, I was asked about it. And then I said, well, if you deal with clowns, then you'll be a part of the circus or something like that.
That's a great response. Actually, I'm going to take that.
Oh, she texted me. Well, this clown knows that your husband is a part of the LGBTQ community. I actually saw him on a date with a man. So come join the prep circus. Said another word about me, bitch. I'm releasing the proof. Like I told your non-singing. She does this and is trying to get a reaction out of me, because to the public, she got y'all thinking that I'm some sort of bully, that I'm a mean girl. This ain't the first time. Lying ass. This ain't the Housewives, bitch.
Now,
this is what she texted me. And I did not reply. But not even long, it was right around the time she sent this text, was the same time. It was not long after that. She was on a podcast with Nene. It was like, we love her. I respect her. We want you to do great. We want you to do well. But she sent this text. Oh, mind you, the text came the day before my play was supposed to be starting that year.
Which play, Candy?
Othello. Lying ass. This ain't Othello.
Thank you.
Last year before Othello. So the day before the red carpet thing.
See what I did there?
Yeah, no, I'm saying day before the red carpet, that weekend of the play, that's what she texted me. I did not respond because I'm like, anytime I have something going on major, she always seems to put my name in the press or do something or try to gaslight me or try to make me seem like this person.
Attachment.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, her flame is being lit by my fire. You feel what I'm saying? So that particular time, I was like, I'm not going to let that. I'm not finna go back and forth with her because I'm not going to allow it to, come and put negative energy on what I was a part of at the time. But now at the Essence Awards, Essence Fest, when we were getting an award, then she comes over there knowing we don't fuck with each other. Right. So why are you over here pretending in front of the people Othello.
Thank you.
Last year before Othello. So the day before
See-
the
see-
red carpet thing,
See what I did?
like you want to shake hands and say something nice to me when you know you ain't nice to me, lady. And then now here I am. I'm here for an award or something positive, and here you online. Oh, they're Mean Girls of Atlanta. What? At the end of the day, I know she gonna have something to say about this,
Oh, no,
and
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
care.
For sure. So
At the end of the day, y'all can say what y'all want. This lady is constantly saying stuff to me when y'all don't know. And you see her online when she do be saying stuff that you do know. Like you want to shake hands and say something nice. Yeah, we did have a conversation about doing another season, but then I don't know, it didn't come together. So Todd and I are still thinking about doing it somewhere else.
Okay. You can bring it back. You got all those restaurants. And you can, invite Tamar on to.
You will not be bringing her in my interview.
Nobody is saying, yo, where we going to go eat? We should just go to Old Lady Gate. Who?
Can you believe that she's still on you?
I'm not playing. I do not like that bitch. I'm just gonna be straight up. I do not like one who sings so beautifully, but don't nobody give a fuck about it. As she's walking by me, she says, and yes, you've seen me multiple times, and I pay you dust.
Situation that happened at Essence Fest. Candy, you went to go speak to her, and some people were saying she gave you shade. Y'all still ended up taking a picture together with her and Monica and a few other people on the stage. Now, some people were saying Candy was giving Mean Girl. Some people were saying you knew the two of y'all had an issue, so maybe you shouldn't have spoke. What do you feel now about the situation now that, it's all come to a head?
I don't care. I was at an event, a professional celebratory event. I said, congratulations, and I went on about my business.
Yeah. Do you regret speaking to her at all?
I do not regret saying congratulations. I don't care who you are. We can have beef all day long, right? It's not like I said, oh, let's go to lunch, let's let's blah, blah, blah. I am not that kind of person. You know what I mean? I don't want beef in my life. I really do enjoy my peace.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I love my life. I have great friends. I have people who really love me and really.
Situation that happened at Essence Fest. Candy, you went.
I have people who really love me and really fuck with me for real, and vice versa. And it wasn't
really that serious to you.
It wasn't like I was going like,
yeah.
It gave congratulations. Everyone on the stage was being honored. And it was one of those events where, you should just show gratitude and be kind and move on.
I didn't even think that moment deserved that big of the spotlight that it did. I think you spoke just like anybody else and kept it moving. But it seems to get blown out of proportion online a little bit.
I think that whoever brought it to the internet wanted that kind of reaction, and
yeah,
God bless them.
So clearly, like you and her, there's no getting past, because I didn't even realize it was that big of an issue.
I don't
between
have
the two
any
of you.
beef with anybody other than the devil. I have people who really love me and really fuck with me for real, and vice versa. And it wasn't really my
that serious
problem.
to you.
It wasn't like I was going like,
yeah.
So it's my understanding that Tamar really had no business on the stage in the first place. So I feel like she went up there in order to hijack the moment. You said this is one of her other personalities talking. It's so unfortunate that Tamar really has a beautiful voice. Her album is fire. We're never talking about her music. And I am disappointed that Candy gave her this much energy. I wish Candy would have did what Monica did and pay her dust. Now, I personally can relate to Candy in her standpoint of, I don't fool with people, you know what I mean, that I ain't fooling with, so don't come over here and say hi. But I wouldn't have gave her, like Candy gave her an eye roll. I probably would have made it very clear, with my facial expression without saying anything. It's time for them to stop giving Tamar so much attention. Her crash outs and all of that. She come over here crashing out. I be thinking about her son and, how she's always talking about how she's going to unalive herself. And I'm like, that kid is old enough to know exactly what's going on. the prescription is due for her another refill. I think she quit taking her meds. I think she's like be on her Kanye. Something is clearly wrong with her. You've always said Tamar is a head case. We did see it on the Braxtons, but I feel like all of them got some issues. All of them Braxton sisters is a little bit touched, it seems as though. And I blame their mama. She's also special. When will some of these folks grow up and act like mature adults? That's what I said to go to Africa. Like, I feel like Candy gave her like just more than she needed to. You know what I'm saying? Even if she wanted to share, like, this is how this lady has been harassing me, you know, and then sending her that text, I guess, child, you know, like I said, I guess she was on her pay me for my pain. She's not the only one, you know, out here getting paid. It seems as though Usher and Chris Brown have got it figured out. They don't have to worry about no more pretty privileges and no more women coming over here acting like they don't want to touch Usher. So I'm going to turn that music off. But they found somebody that was more than willing to come over here and do all the things. It was pretty impressive how Usher managed to keep singing. But do you think that this was somebody they pulled out of the audience? I don't. I think this lady was paid to come over here. She just showed up dressed like this. And she came over here. This is the embarrassing thing. Clearly she grown. So when you look at her, you can see, you know, based on them stretch marks in her thighs, that she probably done pushed out a few children. And, you know, based on what you see of her face, she looks like, you know, she's over 25. But the thing is, this lady, girl, you came over here and did all of this. You did all of this. Nobody's saying anything. And meanwhile, I don't know what she got. I know the pretty privileged girl got, I know she got, brand deals and things based on this whole, you know, Usher thing. So I don't know. Usher, you're not gonna beat them allegations, but you know, if this makes y'all feel better, there was a lot of people that was upset with the little girl because she wasn't giving all of this type of energy. I think this is gross in comparison. But this is what y'all came to see, child. That's nasty. In this case, I blame mom and dad for creating this mess. You're talking about Tamar. I absolutely agree. I think they are the reason for Tamar. Yes, this is nasty. This is what they wanted. You said she was probably a dancer he hired. She looked like it, but I think it's funny, like, because the little girl came online and, you know, she sounded a fool. I'm not even going to say that. For her to get up there and say it's pretty privileged, but the thing is, y'all created it. Like, she's a product of this pretty privilege that y'all created, Usher and Chris Brown. And so now you're going to go over here and get a mature brown-skinned woman and get her to do all the things. Ain't that much, you know. I hope she got a check for that. I hope she got a check for that. I hope that this lady didn't just go over here and give it up for Usher for no damn reason. It's the comments that got me cracking up. You said, now when it comes to Ray J, I don't blame Sonya and Ray. You don't? I blame Sonya for sure for Ray J. Yeah, it's the comments for me that had me cracking up. Somebody said his wife is one of God's strongest soldiers. I'll never possess that type of calm. Yeah, everybody thinks, you know, his wife is a no-limit soldier. I mean, is she watching? I guess. I'm more impressed with Usher's vocals while he's getting bounced on. He did held it down. You know, he stayed on tune. Yeah, everybody's talking about how his wife is a strong individual. I guess, you know, hopefully she's on prep, because based on what we heard about Usher, she might need it. You said Evelyn did say she would slap the piss out of Tamar on national TV. Only because Tamar was about to say who touched her when she was a child. That's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing. That's why she told her that. Like, Tamar was about to open up about the, you know, things that were going on within the household, and Evelyn threatened to slap shit out of her. Tamar was in her 30s at the time. That's the developmental delay of the whole family. That family is over there keeping secrets. And apparently somebody in the family was over there touching the children, and they one of those families that want to keep it all a secret. And so that does clearly damage to the children. That's, you can't turn back. Now this lady over here, a whole embarrassment to herself and anyone involved. That's it, y'all. I figure, we started the day talking about, getting organized and, trying to clean some of the clutter out of our lives. And I want to go ahead and end the day with some positivity because, the children are the future. Might have been the daddy, you think? I mean, it could have been anybody. And then whoever, what's her name? Evelyn. She still hasn't recovered from whatever may or may not have been happening in that marriage. I can't see somebody in their 60s running around still angry about a man who's been gone for 30 years. Time for her to clean the clutter out of her house. Anyway, y'all, we're going to end on a positive note. So whenever, during the day, if you're feeling like you need a little inspiration, these two little boys, they're going to get on the ones and twos, give you a little freestyle. If I could get my act together. Let me back up. I done messed up the whole thing. Take two.
We about to freestyle.
Against each other?
Yeah. We gonna see who got the better. Me, of course me, or Wyatt. Waylon not winning.
Waylon gonna win or you gonna win?
I'm gonna win.
Let go.
I'm the best rapper in the game. I be spitting nothing but flames. Half these rappers, brother, they lame. Think they cool, but that's insane.
Okay. Yeah.